Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over another premium hard question in the database category that I just solved on my own. So I'm really glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem without any assistance, and I did it pretty quickly. So let me show you how I did it. This one is called Merge Overlapping Events in the Same Hall, number 2494. So basically what they want you to do is just get each hall ID, and then for the start and end dates, we try to merge as much as possible. So notice how 13 and 14. And so basically, let's say we get the hall IDs for 1. We have 13, 14, 14 and 17, and then 18 and 25. So notice these two can be merged because these overlap. So your result would be 1, 13, 17 as one entry, and then 1825 as another entry. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and implement it. So let's go ahead and create a default dict of type list so we can hold all the starts and end dates for each transaction for each hall ID. So for IH, it enumerates hall events hall ID. So we're just going to say D of H, so the hall ID is the key, and we're going to append the start and end times. So hall events start day of I, and then we also want, because this is a date time data type, it has 000 colon at the end, which is kind of ugly, so we just want to split it, and we just want the actual date time you are seeing here. So get the 0. And then we're going to do the same thing for the end time. Split it. And 0. Okay, so now we just want to append the start and the end times and sort it. So we're just collecting all the transactions or logs or whatever you want to call it. So for now, let's print k and dk. Cool. So for each hall ID, we have all the logs. Now we want to merge it. Okay, so let me create another default dict of type list. This is actually going to hold our result. And basically what we want to do is, this is already sorted by this timestamp, right? So what we want to do is go from, let's call this now is dk, 1 length of now, because we're going to start here and we're going to compare. This is always going to be less than this one. We're going to compare the first one with the previous end, because the previous end is always going to be the biggest, right? And if this is less than or equal to this one, then we're going to say we're trying to merge, so 13 and 17, because this is basically eaten by this one because there's some commonality between the two. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So what that means is if now j of 0, so we're going to create a current, and that's going to be dk of 0 because this is already sorted. So we know that this is going to be the smallest date in the whole matrix itself, right? So now if this is less than or equal to the previous end, which is now of -1, now of, sorry, is cur of -1 of -1, then we're going to try to merge it, right? Because the biggest date is always at the end and the smallest date is always at the beginning. So cur of -1 of -1, we're going to take the maximum of these two because we know that this one has to be less than this. Okay, so is max of cur -1, -1. So we're comparing this to this now, and now of j of 1. Okay, so that's this one, happens to be bigger than this one, so we're just going to update this. Otherwise, if there's no overlap, then we have to start a new complete interval, and that's just going to go in the rear, right? Because now we're just going to have current as 13, 14, or 17, and then as 18 and 25, because there is no overlap, so we're forced to start a new interval. And now when we compare this, it's going to be 25 instead of 17. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And now let's print k and cur. Cool, so now you can see we have exactly what we need. So this lines up perfectly with the what we see as the output example. So we can go ahead and say ddk equals to cur.copy. We want .copy because this is going to be mutated, and we want to store the current state of this list as the answer to the current hall ID. Okay, so now we basically have our answer, and we have 3 columns. That's why I'm making 3 arrays, 1, 2, 3. And now let's just iterate over dd. So for each sublist, that is a new transaction, right? 2 of them for 1, 1 for 2, 1 for 3. Okay, so now for A and DDK, basically for each sublist inside of this matrix, that's the value to this dictionary key. We're just going to say 1.append the key itself. There's might be multiple keys in the output that are the same. 2.append A of 0, 3.append A of 1. Okay, so start time is 2, end time is list called 3. So now we can just basically create our data frame, set each of the columns to 1, 2, and 3. Hall ID is 1, start day is 2, and then end day is 3. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and return this data frame and see what we get. Okay, submit it. And there you go, passes all test cases. Again, I'm really glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem without any help. And I thought it was pretty straightforward. So also a really good runtime and memory, which is pretty rare for a solution that I came up with on my own. So I'm pretty proud of this. So yep, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.